All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I am off this week until Friday, so I might be doing a live stream, at least one live stream per day. So today's Monday. I'll do one Tuesday, unless I can't think of anything to do. We're here today with my sister Darcy. I think you got YouTube in the background, or maybe I do. That's me. Nope, that was me with my YouTube in the background. I forgot that it was on. So we're back. So today I want to cover a few things. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with this. Hey, Built for Speed. So I had some topics that I wanted to go over. Is Allah the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob? Uh, Go over verse 1156. Allah's on the straight path and he grabs everybody by the forelock. 2824, Allah is an inheritor. 4163, the prophets are out of order, which is kind of weird. But I also wanted to do the Is There Just One Quran? As the title of the show is. Is there just one Quran or are there many Qurans? You ask most Muslims, or I guess 99.99% of the Muslims, they all use probably the Hafs. They're not aware that there's the Warsh, the Dudi, the Kalum, the Nafi, the Assam, the Ibn Kathir, all these nice little Qurans that we've already seen Jay do, Jay with Hatun, over Speaker's Corner. So I wanted to try my hand, and I'm sure I've done this before, but can't remember. Hey, look at that. We don't have anybody watching. It's just me and you.
Oh man.
Which is kind of weird because Built for Speed, I see Built for Speed, but it's not showing up on the, what do you call it? Live stream is showing no viewers. Let me go check my YouTube. Where's my YouTube? YouTube. It says one watching. Okay, man, this thing's just all messed up. All right, I guess it's just you and me. Okay, no problem. So anyway, today I want to start with showing how the Arabic works and how important the diacritical marks are. So I had put this together, I don't know, last year or so. And I got to admit, I give credit to Jay Smith in one of his shows. So I took screenshots and I put this together. All right, we can see that. And as you can see, this is the what they would call the skeleton or the rasam. Now, with this, you can create all of these. Now, there's more examples, but I only have 10 here. So you can see that just this, you can create 10 different words by the diacritical marks. And when I say by the diacritical marks, I mean these funky things that are here and here. So you can see using this, you can create she built, stood firm, grew, I repented, she spreads or broadcasts, a girl or a daughter, depending on the context, he spreads, he broadcasts, okay. She repents, he repents. So notice that the difference between he repents and she repents is basically this one has two of these, this one has four. So they basically took these two from under here and they put it up here. And we repent. Well, we repent, they just took one out and added this. Now you say, what are all these funky marks? Well, let's go see, because I also did that too. Let me see how that looks on the screen. Okay. Hey, Sister Dragon, welcome to the show. It's going to be a fun Monday. So here you see, uh, if you see this slash above a letter, it's a fatha. If you see it on the bottom, it's a kasra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, excuse my Arabic. It's pathetic. It's almost as good as my Chinese. If you see this little thing here that looks like a ribbon, it's a dhamma. This here is the aleph kenjariya. Then you got the mata, what looks like an aleph with the little tilly on the top. All right, we got the aleph washla, which is the closed tilly. You got the sakun, which looks like a circle. You got the taween, which is basically a double fatha or a double kasra. You got this one. You got the shahad, shada. You got the hamza, and some more stuff. And how you can use this is to determine if a word is the same. So looking at this one here, you can see this is one word. And I think I took it from my from a web page. So as we see here, these here look kind of pretty much the same, wouldn't you say, Darcy?
They're similar, yeah.
Right. But if a person is not familiar with the diacritics, then you're not going to know. So here's the difference between the top one and the bottom. Here on the top one, it's got a sakun. Okay, it's been replaced by an aleph with a fatha. Okay, this here has a kasra on the bottom. This one here has a fatha on the top. This and this stay the same. This and this is the same, except there's the fatha on there. So you know it's not the same word. Right? So if this word was being used in one one Arabic Quran, and then this one was used for the same sentence but in a different Quran, knowing just the basics of the construction of words in Arabic, you would know, okay, it cannot be the same word because it's got different diacritics. So that's just a little basic stuff on that. Now let me see, where is my kirat? Okay, I think I overstepped it. Oh, here we go. Now, I started this, but I never completely finished because it's now accessible online, or you can buy the book. It's called the 10 Qurats by, I think it's by Bridges. I think it's the Bridges translation. And this basically shows you the differences. So basically, you got the Hafs over here, and then you have the other versions of the Quran. So we know that the Hafs, it says master, but then these Arabic Qurans, the Assam, the Al Qasiya, the Yaqub, and the Caliph, they use the word king. Now we go to chapter 2, verses 9. The Hafs says, yet they deceived. But then if you go to the Nafi, the Ibn Kathir, or the Abu Amar, it says they tried to deceive. Now this is a problem because this says, yet they deceived. That meaning they were able to deceive. This one says try to deceive, which means they're trying to deceive, but nobody knows if they've been successful. We go to 2:10 and we see that Huff says they used to lie. Okay, so that's something that they used to do in the past. But if we go to the Nafi, the Ibn Kathir, the Abu, and all these, their version says they used to disbelieve. Now, Darcy, would you say that lie and disbelieve are not the same thing?
No, I actually don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can barely see the screen on my tablet.
Okay, let me see if I can blow it up. All right, can you see it now?
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
So in 2.9, and I'm echoing in the background. Your tablet does not like me. So as you can see that in 2.9, it says, yet they deceived. Okay, so they did something in the past. But in these versions of the Quran, it says they tried to deceive. And the one that I was just showing you was 2.10, where it says they used to lie. But in all these Arabic Qurans, it says they used to disbelieve. Now, disbelieve and lie cannot be the same. I can have disbelief, but that doesn't mean that I lie. Okay. Now, if we go over here, this is Quran.com. If you go to the setup or to the settings and you go down here, what you want to do is you want to click on this guy here, the Fadal Suleiman, the Bridges translation. It has the 10 popular qirats. And then it shows you the differences between the different Qurans. Now I'm using Yusuf Ali and I'm comparing it to the Bridges. Okay, and remember 2.9 said, yet they deceived, tried to deceive. So if you go over here, and you can see that it says they tried to deceive Allah and those who have attained faith, yet they deceive none. Okay, and if you click on this one, it's basically what you're doing is you're clicking here, and it tells you the different qirats. So in the qirat from Nafi ibn Kathir and Abu Amir, their Quran reads, yet they tried to deceive none. Now, this is a complete addition of two words. Try to. Right? It doesn't say, yet they tried to deceive. So here you have a Quran where words are added to it. Well, that's a problem.
Most definitely.
Now, I like to go over here. This is a website. It's a Islamic website, and what it does, it compares the differences. Now, this one you can actually see the Arabic on here. Unfortunately, they don't show you the Arabic words, which is kind of sad. But you know what? Let me see. I might be able to transliteration. No, it's just gonna show the transliteration up here, so that's not gonna work. Okay, but if we go over here, I've already pulled up. Oops, the cow, which is chapter 2 and verse 9. Let me see if that's visible. Yes. Oh, okay. So she doesn't know Arabic; she just knows certain words, kind of like me. All right, so we go back over here, and this is the Hafs Quran. You're not going to see any differences. Okay. Now, the one right underneath it is the Nafi. Okay. And these guys were so nice. Okay. Because it's a pain in the butt for me to look at the Arabic words. They were so nice that they actually color coded the differences in purple. Why purple? I don't know. Maybe it's my monitor. So basically, we're looking at this word here. Now, I can't highlight it because this is a picture. But, okay, you notice that on this olive right here, you see the little line up there? Now, that line, which I forgot what it was. I can't remember what it was called. One is a fatha and one is a dhamma. I keep forgetting. Okay, so the fatha became a kasra. So this fatha is now a kasra. So you got that difference. Okay, we got the two dots. Slight difference on the on this one here. What is that one called? The one with the little sliggly liggy. That is a dhamma. Okay, so we got the dhamma. Okay, now notice here, this has a dot. That has an aleph there. Still looks like it has the dot. Now, I'm not going to play the recitation because they all sound the same to me. You really got to know your Arabic, but you can play it, and basically it's just going to recite it for you. But I don't know if it's going to do it because my microphone is being... Oh, yeah, it will. Okay. I think I might listen to this when I'm in the bathroom constipated. Okay. That's something else. This is something else. Okay. So there's a website that you can go into Google, peace be upon him, and all you got to do is type in Hafs versus Warsh, which I spelt wrong. But thank God for Prophet Google. He knew what I was trying to type. And I found this website. It's called the MuslimProphets.com, and they show 51 textual variants. Now, sometimes they use the, okay, come on, let's go. All right, we can see that. All right, so historically, Quran was read in various recitations, but I thought Uthman burnt all the other recitations and he put it into just one. So as you can see, he's got 51 versions. We got Hafs, which is used by 95% of Muslims. So the chances of you getting a Warsh Quran is probably slim to none, unless you happen to be in like Morocco and those countries, which, by the way, my understanding is Morocco has banned the Hafs Quran. So much for that one. So as you can see here in chapter 1, verse 4, they use sovereign, they use king. Now, sometimes instead of sovereign, it says master. Now, these are not, major things, but just to show you that the Qurans are not the same. 251, they think to deceive, they seek to deceive. All right, so let's go over to here. 251. All right. All right, come on. Stop doing that. Let's go to 51. All right. I don't know. I don't think that's the same one. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we did that. 29. Okay, so let's go over here. Again, nothing major. We will forgive. He will forgive. Again, if you look at the, let me blow this up. I mean, I'm not an expert with this stuff, but if you use your brains and you use your eyes, you can tell that there's differences in these words. Be back as soon as possible. Okay. All right, so we take a look at 258. Again, we will, he will. I'm not going to argue that that's Allah or not Allah, because they say Allah uses he for Allah, he uses we for Allah. I'm okay with it, no problem. But if you look at the Arabic, again, you notice the differences. This one has this funky W with the line on the top. What is that funky W? Oh, it's a shada. but I'm not sure what the Shada, what's on top of the Shada. I think.
John, I gotta get going, but I
Okay.
hope your stream goes well. God
All right.
bless.
God bless you too. Thank you for dropping by. I'll keep the fort open. Okay, so back to what I was saying, as we can see that there's differences here. This one has the two dots on the bottom of the first letter. This one does not. All right, we see that's the same. The next one has a fatha on top of the dot, and this one has a kasra on the bottom. Let me make sure I got the right ones. What's on the bottom? The bottom is kasra and the top is fatha. Okay. So we can clearly see that these are not the same. We go over here, the same thing. You do becomes they do. Again, if you just look at the basics of the diacritics, the first one has the fatha on the top and the two dots on the bottom. Here you have the two dots and the fatha. That's the same, that's the same, that's the same, and that's the same. So minor changes, but that changes it from you to they. Again, I'm not really going to nitpick whether you and they, but it is a difference. This one is kind of important because this one says, and you will not be asked. But this one says, and do not ask. And this is 219. So let's go over here and let's see what they say. I think it's 2119. Was it 2119? Okay. So as you can see, indeed, we have sent you, O Muhammad, with the truth bringer of good tidings and a warner, and you will not be asked about the companions of hellfire. Verses, indeed, we have sent you, O Muhammad, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, O Muhammad is not in the verse, with the truth as a bringer of good tidings and a warner, and do not ask about the companions. So we got this version here on Hafs. It's saying that Muhammad will not be asked about the companions of the hellfire, but in the Warsh, it says it's telling Muhammad to not ask about the companions of the hellfire. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but that's a problem. Let's see what Quran.com says. All right, we have sent you with the truth as a herald of glad tidings and as a warner, for you will not be asked about the fellows of purgatory. Okay, now if we click on number one, see, I'm giving you all these tools so that you can see that that whole all Qurans are the same is an outright lie. So according to Quran.com and according to the British translation of the 10 Qirats, he says Nafi and Yaqub, their Qurans, this verse, instead of saying that Muhammad will not be asked about the fellows of purgatory, it says, so do not ask about the fellows of purgatory. I mean, would you say that that is a difference? I mean, I think that's a difference. All right, let's look at a few more. This might be a short live stream. Okay, that was 2:119. Again, we see a big difference. And they, O believers, have taken. Okay. And this one says, and take. Big difference between they have taken and they take. This one looks like it added a word to it. And Abraham instructed enjoined on his sons to do the same, blah, 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 blah. All right. And this one is, or do you say, or do they say? Now, I don't have the Arabic words. But let's take a look at it. This is 2140. Let's go to this website here. Let me see. 2140. Okay. Again, this is the Huffs and this is the Warsh. You can see the differences, color-coded, nice and purple, okay? Okay, so this is that one. That's the same. That's got the little thing there. Okay, that one has the Aleph here with the little strange little squiggly. What is that little squiggly going up? I don't even have that little squiggly going up. Do I have the squiggly going up? No, sir, I don't have it, so I don't know what that is. Could be this, I don't know. But as you can see, the one here, the Aleph, does not have the little, doesn't have the Fatha on top of the other thingamajiggy, which I think is probably this right here. Looks like a Fatha with a Dhamma. But this here, this Aleph has a dot. Okay, then we look at the first, is this the first one here? Okay, this one here. Okay, that looks the same. This one here looks a little bit different. You got the two dots and a Fatha. This one, the two dots have gone to the bottom. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, there are differences. Is it enough to prove that the Quran is not the same? I believe so. All right, let's keep going. Let's go take a look at a few other ones. Again, once this live stream is finished, I'm going to try to remember to go and post the links that I'm using. Well, you know what? I can do that now. On this one here, I'm going to post it here. All right, you can click on that, and that pretty much takes you to chapter Baqarah, ayah 140, which is what we're looking at. All right, let me go back. Let me go back to this guy over here. Okay, so we got that. This one is very important because this has a theological differences. Here you see, here's the letters, or I should say the word, and I do believe, yes, I think that's what I was looking at over here. Let me see if that's it. That's got a sukan. That's got a sukan. Yes. So I broke this down. So you got this Arabic word and you got this Arabic word, and I basically broke it down and showed you what the difference is. You got the sukoon, and you got the kasra, you got the fatha, you got the aleph, all that good stuff. All right. Now, this is a big difference because if you happen to be 95% of the Muslims, and this is has to do with fasting, and if you're having problems having, to fast, you're allowed to substitute fasting by feeding a poor person. Okay, now this is singular. Now, if you're in Morocco and you're going to be reading the Warsh, okay, if you're having problems with the fast, you are required the feeding of poor people. Poor people happens to be not singular. Now, I do believe this is a plural, which is at least 3 or more people. So which one is correct? Is it the people that use the huffs and you only got to feed one poor person? Me personally, I'd like the huffs because, money's kind of tight, prices are high, inflation. I prefer to just feed one person than have to feed three people. But if you are unlucky Muslim who happens to be living in Morocco or any country that uses the wash, you're going to have to feed four people. That, I believe, is a problem. If you don't think that's a problem, then I don't know. All right, we're back down to 0. Okay, all right, let's keep going. I'm going to do this by myself. All right, we go to another one, chapter 2, verse 214. They were touched by poverty and hardship and were shaken until even their messenger and those who believed with him said. This one just says until the messenger. A big difference. Here we go again. We got these two words. As you can see, there's differences. No differences in the first one. You got the kasra on this one. You got the fatha on this one. This one you got 2 dots. This one you got a dot and a sukoon. This one you got a dhamma. That one has a dhamma. You got the aleph, same thing. You got the kasra, and you got the little wiggly thing with the fatha. So there are differences, and the difference is, and if it were not for Allah checking, okay, and if it were not for Allah defending. All right, so let's look at 2251. Let's see, what does Corpus Quran say? 22/251. Okay, repelling. Okay, let's look at the different qirats. Okay, according to Nafi, Abu Jafar, and Yaqub, and were it not for Allah strongly repelling some people. So we have an addition of a word. There is no strongly repelling in here, but there is down here. So it's adding a word. Now, I don't know why this is checking versus defending, because it doesn't seem to be the difference, according to Quran.com. This one says, we raised them, we revived them. Okay, I'm not going to bitch about it. Raise, revive, I mean, there is a difference. Raise means to lift up. Revive means to bring back. It's differences, but again, there's differences. 2259. What does Quran.com says? 2259. How we assemble, how we revivify them. Okay, assemble, revive, big difference. Assemble would be putting something together. Reviving, again, would be bringing somebody back to life. Let's look at number 2, because apparently this one has 2 problems. What does it say here? So when it became evident to him, he said, I know. But according to the Hamza and the Al-Kasi Quran, it says, so when it became evident to him, he said, know that. Okay. There's a difference there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem that I have when Muslims try to tell you that there's only one Quran. Again, not a major deal. Okay, we go to chapter 3, verse 57. He will give them in full. We will give them in full. Again, not a major problem. Again, we can see the difference easy. 2 dots, no dots. You got a sukoon, and then you got a dhamma. Big difference. Go over here. Yeah, we got a dhamma, and then we have a sukoon. So you can see the differences. Again, he will give them in full. We will give them in full. I mean, we could argue that he is referring to Muhammad. We could argue that we is referring to Allah. We could also argue that he is singular versus we is plural. All right, chapter 3, verse 83. Again, you got the 3 dots. The first 2 dots under the first letter have gone to the top. So you got the fatha and the 2 dots. And it changes it from, so it is other than the religion of Allah they desire, to so it is other than the religion of Allah you desire. So this is speaking specifically for, I guess I would say, Muhammad. So there is a difference between you and they. This is not a dialectical differences. This is not a pronunciation. Okay, pronunciation would be potato, patata, tomato, tomata. That is not what we are seeing here. This is completely different words. You can't get around it. You know, you and they are not the same words, unless maybe you are in a different planet. Hey, Sister Miriam. Hola. If anybody wants to come up, I typically don't do shows on weekdays, but I'm off. The link is at the top. Just feel free to join. I'm just going over the differences in the different Qurans. I'm sure you've all have heard it. We've all seen it. Jay Smith, Hatun, probably Rob Christian, Adam Seeker. Heck, I think even the Cross and the Crescent have done it. But I wanted to go over, and I started by giving lessons on how to notice the different diacritical marks. And when I say diacritical marks, I am referring to the little funny little things that you see on top of the letters. You know, like a fatha, a kasra, a dhamma, an aleph, kanjariya. You got the mada, but they got some good names. You got the hamza, you got the shada, you got the taween, you got the sakun, you got the alif washla. And if you understand these, then you can look at 2 words. Oops. You can look at 2 words, and you could look at the differences between the two words. All right. I also showed the importance of these diacritical markings by showing how the diacritical marks can make many different. Let me shrink this down. Boy, it could make many different words. Okay. Now, some of you are probably familiar with the word rasm, R-A-S-M. It could also be the consonantal skeleton. Okay, so this is what it would look like in the time of Muhammad. Now, during the time of Muhammad, you would know if this is she built, stood firm, grew, I repented, she spreads or broadcasts, a girl or a daughter, he spreads, he broadcasts, she repents, he repents, we repent. Because the difference is in the diacritical marks. It's in the dots. Okay, it's in the fatha. It's in the kasra. It's in the dhamma. Oh man, I keep forgetting what this one is. But anyway, you get the idea. Just this skeleton here, you can create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I only chose 10, but there were more. Just by changing the position of the diacritical marks, we have all of this. Okay, so let's go back over here. Again, this one is not a major, it's not a major problem. We versus I, okay? I mean, I'm not going to nitpick, but the thing is that when a Muslim tells you that the Quran is the same, when I look at the same, what comes to my mind is that they are identical. Every verse is exactly the same from one Quran to another Quran. And what I'm demonstrating is that's a fallacy. They're not the same. I and we are not the same. You and they are not the same. Granted, most of these do not change the message. I give them that much. Okay, again, I'm not a serial nitpicker. Again, we look at chapter 3, verse 83. Again, the importance of knowing your diacritical marks. You got the 2 dots here. Now the 2 dots go up here. It changes from they will be returned to you will be returned. Here, it's not a difference in the word. There's an addition of a word, and. Let's take a look at this at Quran.com, 3:133. /133. Again, I would advise people use this website if you don't have the book from Bridges. I happen to have the PDF, but these guys, God bless them. They've done what I was going to do. They did it right here. So as you can see, it says and hasten. Now that's what the Huff says. Okay, so they jive, they coagulate. If we click on the 1, and it'll tell you the difference. Footnote: Nafi, Ibn Amar, and Abu Jafar read it as hastens towards, or hastens to. So you see that they added this. Huffs added a word that is not in the Warsh. Now I like this one because in this one I want to be in the Huffs. I don't want to be in the Warsh. Again, if you look at the diacritical marks, okay, this is the same. You got the aleph, you got the dot, you got the fatha. We go. You got the dots, and you got the kasra. Okay, you got the 2 dots, the 2 lines, and you got the little W. No problemo. Now we go over here, and whoa, big difference. You got an additional of that little squiggly thingamajiggy, which I think is a Dhamma. Yes. Okay, and what's next? Okay, you got a fatha and the 2 dots, but on this one you got the 2 dots and you got a kasra. Am I saying this crap right? Is the bottom one a kasra? Yes. I'm learning, ladies and gentlemen, and what else? That's pretty much the same. But it changes the verse from, and how many a prophet fought. Okay. Now, the poor guy that's reading the Quran in Morocco, his Quran is going to say, and how many a prophet were killed. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the same. Killed and fought have 2 different meanings and are 2 different words. And this is 3:146. Let's go back over here to the Quran.com. What did I say? 146. 3146. Let's go over there. Let me check and see if there's anybody in the backstage. Nope, nobody's in the backstage. All right, I'm down to one. Everybody's dropping out on me. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go back over here. And 3146, we click on the number one. Literally lordly. Okay, no big deal. So godly, lordly, same crap. Now we go number two. And it says combating, which would mean fought. But in the Nafi, the Ibn Kathir, the Abu Amir, and the Yaqub reads killed. Big difference between, again, fought, combating, and killed. Next one, 3157, they accumulate, you accumulate. Again, I am not going to be really picky. We got 4 verse 14, he will put, we will put, and again, you can see that there's no, there's the 2 dots are missing from here versus here. And then you have 1 dot here. So the 2 dots from the bottom, 1 dot went to the top and disappeared. Okay, we got the sakun, we got the kasra, we still got the dot, we got another sakun, and then we got the dhamma. So pretty much everything is the same. It just basically changed from he to we. Quran verse 152. Again, it's just a difference between we and he. He is going to give the rewards. We give them the rewards. Okay. There's a difference. Not a major difference. Fought, ongoing battle, killed, ceased to exist. Absolutely 100% built. Okay. If you're fighting, you're still alive. But if you're killed, you're dead. You can no longer fight. And this is really mind-boggling. I do not understand how someone could not grasp that there's a big difference between fighting and being killed. Now, granted, you might get killed in the fights, but then again, you might not get killed. But if you're killed, then you crap out of luck. So these things make it, these things add up and they make a difference. And this is just showing 51. I think between the Hafs and the Warsh, there's at least 5,000 differences. I can't verify it because I haven't gone and checked. And again, we can go to 3146. If we go to this Arabic website and we change this to 3. We also got to change this to 3. I think it was 146. Let me double check. 3146, I believe. 3. Yes. Again, it's not rocket science. Here you go. You got the Hafs. Okay. And how do I know it's the Hafs? Because if I go over here and I translate the page, it's only going to translate the top. Okay, you got the Hafs on the authority of Asim. Okay, everything looks copacetic. Now, if we go to the Nafi, look at the difference. Everything that's in purple is a difference between the Hafs and the Nafi. Okay, so basically this is this right up here from here to here. Okay, we go over here and everything looks the same. Everything looks the same. But look at the addition. This right here is not right here. Okay, you look over here. You got a difference. You got a fatha and you got a dhamma. The next one, and I can't tell if it's two dots or if it's a fatha, but you can tell that there's a difference because this one has no kasra, which is a little line on the bottom. Now the kasra has become a fatha over here. Everything is the same. Let's see if there's any other differences. No. So, ladies and gentlemen, the sources are at your fingertips. When the Muslim tells you that all Qurans are the same, just show them this. Okay? And I'm not making this stuff up. This is not my website. I don't own inquran.com. Okay? As you can see, this is in Arabic. I don't know a lick of Arabic. Okay? These are their books. Now, I do own the Hafs and the Kalun. I don't have them with me, but I do own them. I mean, this is not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see why we have to, be lied to. I think I'm going to do one more before I move on to the next topic. I think I bored everybody already. All right, let me do one more. So we did that, we did that. Now this one here is kind of funny because according to 567, then you have not conveyed his message. So that's one message. Becomes, then you have not conveyed his messages. Okay, so we got a singular and a plural. And what is the difference? Okay, everything's fine up to here. We start to see the differences in there. All right, we're missing the two kasras. One of the kasras went to the top and became a fatha. And then we got a dhamma. There's no dhamma here. So they replaced the kasra with a dhamma. This is 567. Let me see what this one says. I think this will be the last one. 567. Just want to see. Okay, so his message. Okay. His messages. Clearly, this is a big mistake. Is Allah telling you will not have proclaimed his message? Or actually, let's read. O messenger, proclaim what was sent down to you from your Lord. But if you do not, then you will not have proclaimed his message. But in the Nafi, the Ibn Amr, the Shabu, the Abu Jafar, and the Yaqub, it says his messages. So then it becomes, O messenger, proclaim what was sent down to you from your Lord. But if you do not, then you will not have proclaimed his messages. We got singular, we got plural. Houston, we got a problem. Okay, and I hope you guys are seeing this. Again, if anybody wants to come up, the link is on the top. Okay, so what was some of the other stuff that I was going to go over? All right, so we're done with this. Is there only one Quran? I think I've demonstrated that there's not. Okay, so one of the questions that I've been asking Muslims, because I've heard Muslims say that Allah is the same God as the God in the Bible. Well, is that true? I've asked a question, I've gotten an answer, and they keep telling me that's true. So I went and I did a search in, I think it was Bible Hub. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. Correction, Bible Gateway. So I did a search for God telling us that he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, we see in Genesis, may the God of Abraham, but this is not really God speaking. All right, then Jacob prayed. Okay, that's not God speaking. All right, same thing here. But I like Exodus 3 and 3:6 and 3:15, because here we say, then he said, so we know that this is God speaking, because nobody would say this. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. If we go to verse 15, okay, this is God speaking to Moses. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. You see it in 3:16. Go assemble the elders of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But the strange thing is that I've looked in the Quran, and I cannot find where Allah says he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, so let's go take a look. Let me go to one of my favorite websites. Okay, let me go over here. I'm going to go to Islam Awakened. All right, now I know it says 7157, but I just want to go over here. And we're going to put God, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Okay, so these are the verses. Say we believe in God. Okay, that's not Allah speaking. Do you claim that Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob and their descendants were Jews or Christians? That is stupid by itself. Say we believe in the God he revealed to us, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob. No. Thy God, the God of thy forefathers, Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac. That is not Allah speaking. Okay. That's actually, and I had a Muslim pull this up for me. So let's go to 2:133. All right, so these Muslims are really brain dead. All right, so I had asked a Muslim, show me where Allah says that he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they brought me to this, Surah Baqarah, ayah 133. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, where does Allah say he is the God of anybody? So we see that this is dealing with Jacob. So Jacob is dying, and he's talking to his sons, and he asks his sons, what will you worship from after me? Then his sons reply, they said. Now, some brilliant Muslim Einstein wants me to believe that they said is Allah. So the sons of Jacob said, we will worship your God, the God of your forefathers, Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I did not ask for the sons of Jacob to tell me which God they're going to worship. I asked, where does Allah say he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Can't find it. I honestly don't believe that Allah likes to Ishmael that much. Now, here we have in the story of Yusuf. Let me see, I forgot what the verse was. 1238. Where's 1238? Okay, so clearly again, this is not, oh, but here's the funny thing. Now, in the story of Joseph, notice it says, so this is Joseph speaking, and Joseph says, and I will follow the faith of my forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so clearly this is not Allah saying he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is Joseph. But notice that the previous verse in the other chapter, Jacob's sons said that they would worship the God of Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob. What happened to Ishmael? Why is there no Ishmael here? I mean, I've done a search. Again, this is Joseph Yusuf. Notice in 684, Allah, you will also never find Allah saying that he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You will find it in 29:27. You will find it in 1949. You will find it in 684, and in chapter 21, I think it's verse 71 and 72, where Allah specifically tells the reader, and I gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just like this verse right here. Okay. So, no, ladies and gentlemen, Allah is not the God of Abraham. Actually, Allah never says he is the God of any, really anybody. Now, I found this one to be strange. Okay, because this is Allah speaking. Okay, this is it looks like 38:5. All right. No, it's not 38:5. It's not 38:5. I'm sorry, 38:45. Okay, 38:45. And what do we see here? 38:45. Now, this is Allah speaking, and Allah says, remember our servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What happened to Ishmael? Donde está Ishmael? I want to know, why doesn't it say, and remember also our servants, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob? I find that to be very strange. All right, let me close all these tabs. I mean, what happened to Ishmael? I mean, here we see that Ishmael, but it's not saying that Ishmael is a servant of Allah. All right, this is the same thing. This is chapter 2, 133, where it's the son of Jacob. This is just repeating itself because this website has about 40 different translations. This is interesting. 38:1. Let me see. 38:1. Clearly, that is not the one. It's not 38:1. It's not 38:1. 38:21. 38:21. Nope, that's not it. Weird. Sad. This is the letter to Sad. Allah knows best. Our bondmen, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. This is weird. No, indeed. Wow, let me just see if I can find Abraham. A-B-R-E. Okay. Here we go. 38:45. And we read, and remember our bondmen, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Now, bondmen is the same thing as, servants. Again, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What happened to Israel, Allah? Now, somebody put in Ishmael here, but he's not in there. Okay. There was another problem that I'm going to go over before I end the show. And what was it? Okay. All right. 1156. Let me see. What was it? Oh, I think I know what the problem is. 1156. I went over this with Sister Darcy before she had to leave. Okay, so 1156, if we go to the Arabic, it says, "Indeed, I will put my trust upon Allah, my Lord and your Lord. There is not from of a moving creature, but he has grasp of its forelock. Indeed, my Lord is on a straight path." Now, I find it strange that I am told that Allah is on a straight path. I thought the straight path was only for, the believers of Allah. But the other problem that I have is the forelock. What is a forelock? Okay, if we go to Corpus Quran, which also has a word for Corpus Quran, and we go to 1156. Word for word. Okay. Let me see if you guys can see this. Let me blow it up a little. Let's take a look. Okay. All right. So what do we find here? It says, "Indeed, I put my trust upon Allah, my Lord, and your Lord. There is not a moving creature of a moving creature." So it's talking about moving creatures. Now, what does that mean by a creature? I had a Muslim tell me that it means animals and humans. But a cockroach would be a moving creature. A snake would be a moving creature. Okay, so Allah is telling you that there's not a moving creature, but he has a grasp of its forelocks. Okay, so that means there's no creature that Allah can't grab by its forelock. Now, what is a forelock? Well, that depends. If you're a Muslim, okay, this by the way is my my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, my Twitter channel. So I asked this Einstein of a Muslim to tell me what is a forelock. Define what a forelock is, and he gave me this beautiful picture. You guys see that beautiful picture? Okay. And he's telling me that the forelock means forehead. Now, where this person got that forelock means forehead, I don't know. Now, I know why they're saying that, because this is supposed to be one of the miracles in the Quran, because they say lion comes from the front of your forehead, right? So they say, oh, look, how did Muhammad know that the location of lion is in your forehead? Well, he didn't know, because the verse doesn't say forehead. Again, if we go back to Corpus Quran, it says that Allah, there's not a creature that Allah does not have the grasp of its forelock. Let's go and click on this word here. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 11, forelock. Chapter 96, forelock. Chapter 96, forelock. Chapter 54:41, by the forelocks. What is a forelock, by the way? Oh, I don't know. Golly, jelly, winny, beanie. Let's go see. What does forelock mean? Look at that. Google is better than Allah, because it knows what I'm looking for before I even look for it. Okay. What is a forelock? Let me see if you guys can see that. If I have to blow it up. Yeah, let me blow it up. I don't want to do that. I want to go over here and want to make sure everybody sees. Okay, let me see. Ah, somebody here is smart. It means the hair on the front part of your head, your bangs. You know, a horse has it. Now, my question is, if Allah has, if He can grasp the forelock of every moving creature, yes. Another point is, we do have creatures that don't move. And again, what is a creature? He told me a creature was animals and humans. Now, Marian, how does Allah grab a bald-headed guy? He's got no forelocks to grab. But if we look at the definition of a forelock, and this is not my definition, this is from the Century Dictionary, the lock of a hair that grows from the forepart of your head, a prominent or somewhat detached lock above the forehead, especially of a horse. Now, the other two are really not applicable because it's talking about a wedge of an iron that goes through the hole of an inner end of a bolt to prevent it from withdrawal when a strain is placed on it. The other one is the clasp for a catch serving to hold the helm. Okay, so we know that the forelock is basically, like Mary said, it's your bangs. And unfortunately, I don't have any bangs anymore. But I still got here where Allah could grab. So, doesn't Allah know that not everything has a forelock? I mean, this is the Almighty, all-knowing God, and He doesn't know what a forelock is. And this poor kid or this poor person is so confused that I don't know where he got the idea that forelock is the forehead. And they call me stupid. I must be a really smart stupid because I know that a forelock does not mean a forehead. And then he comes back, where's the contradiction? I have no clue. I didn't say it was a contradiction. So why would you ask me, where's the contradiction? Notice, ladies and gentlemen, that one of the tactics that Muslims love to do is say, yes, Sam Shamoon has nothing to worry about. Allah cannot grab him by his forelock. I might join Sam when down the road, but not yet. I haven't decided yet. So yeah, but Sam Shamoon, God bless his soul, Allah will never be able to grab him by the forelock. So therefore, that verse that's in the Quran, ladies and gentlemen, is false. Because what does the verse say? It says, there is not a moving creature, but He has grasp of His forelock. That means there isn't a moving creature that Allah does not have the grasp of its forelock. Well, bald people, no forelocks. Snakes, no forelock. Fish, no forelock. Worms, no forelock. Birds, okay, you can grab them by the feathers on top of the head. But you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is a false statement because this cannot apply to everybody. But Allah is saying there is not. I mean, they can't be a moving creature that Allah cannot grasp by its forelock. But my poor dog does not have a forelock. Well, okay, I take that back. You can do to my dog because she's a Great Pyrenees and she's one fluffy, big fluff of a fur ball. So you could grab by the forelock. She's got that Rastafarian look. Okay, so, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is just stupidity on display. What was the other one that I wanted to do? Oh, and not to mention, it says that Allah is on the straight path. Abduls, why does Allah need to be on the straight path? Where is He going? Who's guiding Allah? All right, and we go to 28:24. That's also an interesting one. 28, 24. What do we see here? Okay, I don't think that's it. 28, 24. All right, that's not it. I think I got the wrong one. All right, let's look over here. Let's go a search in Best of the Inheritors. It's like a 28, 21, 2189. And Zechariah, when he called to his Lord, my Lord, do not leave me alone while you are the best of the inheritors. Okay, that is a problem, but that's not the verse that I wanted. Now, in order for Allah to be an inheritor, he would have to not own things, and somebody would have to give him something that he didn't already own. Okay? You can only inherit things that are not yours. I can't inherit my car because it's my car. Now, my son can inherit my car, but I can't inherit my car simply on the basis that I already own the car. This isn't the verse that I wanted. They are inheritors. Let me see. I know I saw it here somewhere. I can't believe that I wrote down the wrong verse. Okay, that's not it. Let's keep going. Are the inheritors. He made you inheritors. These are the inheritors. Nope. The inheritors. No, that's not it. Dong it. I'm going to be upset if I can't find that verse. Make them the inheritors, and we are who gave life and caused death. All right, let's check 1523. All right, let's see. You know what? Let's read the whole thing, because I don't want Muslims to say, read the verses above. And we have made you therein the means of living, in whom you are not for him providers, and not is anything but with us. Now, who's us? I thought Allah was by himself. Now, there's no such thing as a royal. Apologize for that. There's no such thing as a royal us. Not we send it down except in the measure known, and we have sent the winds fertilizing, and we sent down from the sky the water, and we gave it to you to drink, and not of it are retainers. Indeed, we give life, and we cause death, and we are the inheritors. Okay. Allah is the inheritor of what? He's the inheritor of life, the inheritor of death. Let me see. Well, I'm definitely not doing a 3-hour live stream. I'll make them the inheritors, his agents the inheritors, and the inheritors, make them the inheritors. We are the... Okay, that's the same one that I just read. Inheritors, make them inheritors. You know what? I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to corpusquran.com. I'm going to cheat. It's so nice when you have all these sources. And what did I have? 28, 24, 28, 28, 28, 5. That's not it. You know what? I'm going to cheat. Okay, it is we who give life and death. We are the inheritors. You are the best of inheritors. My Lord, do not leave me alone, for you are the best of inheritors. 2189. Let's go to 2189 and see what it says. Why I got 28? 9. Oh, no. 189. Okay, that's not it. These are the ears. We are there in here. 2858. Let's look at 2858. 28/58. Okay, I think, all right, so 28. And how many we have destroyed, so this is Allah speaking, how many have we destroyed over town which exalted in its means of livelihood? And these are the dwellings, and these are their dwellings, have not have been inhabited from after them except a little, and indeed we are the inheritors. How can Allah inherit something? The whole concept of inheriting is that you don't own it, but Allah is God. He owns everything. All right, and the last one is 4163. And I think I'll call it a day. 4/163. I was kind of hoping to have some Muslims come in from Twitter. I guess they didn't see it. Allah probably has some tweezers he can use to grab mice and hamsters with. Oh, that's funny. Okay, now this is supposed to be God speaking again. All right, so we see, indeed, we have revealed to you. So this is Allah speaking to somebody. Indeed, we have revealed to you as we revealed to Noah and the prophets after him. Okay. We revealed to Abraham. Okay. And Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob. All right. So we have Noah, we have Abraham, we have Ishmael, we have Isaac, we have Jacob. They are in perfect chronological order. Noah came first, then Abraham, then Ishmael, then Isaac, then Jacob. Now, I don't know what happened here. Okay. Somebody screwed up. So after Jacob, it says, and the tribes, meaning the 12 tribes of Israel. But then we go and it says, and Esau. Yeah, let me read one that doesn't have, because I did not feel like pronouncing the name. Okay, so we see Noah, correct. Abraham, correct. Ishmael, correct. Isaac and Jacob and their descendants. Now things get a little funky dillick here. Now we see, including Jesus and Job and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon, and to David we gave the Psalms. Okay, I'm sorry. How did Jesus come before Job and Jonah and Aaron? And what happened to Moses and Solomon and David? So the first part of the verse, he has the prophets listed in the order that they came. We know that Noah was before Abraham. We know that Abraham was before his son Ishmael. And we know that Ishmael was before Isaac. And we know that Isaac was before Jacob. Now, how in Allah's name did Jesus, who should be at the end, How did Jesus come before Job and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon and David? And we missed Moses. Hey, Dave, good to see you. So can somebody please explain to me how Allah managed to get the prophets in order, the first half of the verse, and totally screwed up the second part of the verse? I mean, what this tells me is that whoever wrote the Quran, specifically this verse, had no clue on the chronological order of the prophets. He knew the first five, but he didn't know the next six. So I find this to be a problem, and I don't know why Muslims don't find this to be a problem. And I think that is the last on my topics. I've gone over for about an hour on the different Qurans. Hey, Freddie. Oh, I accidentally knocked myself out. Good to see you, Freddie. Good to see you. A little late, but I guess better late than never. So I've gone over and demonstrated that the claim that Muslims make that there's only one Quran, that's false. I mean, I've provided the sources that show clearly that the different Qurans, like the Hafs and the Warsh and all the other ones, clearly they're not identical in the words. Sometimes they're not even identical in the meanings, like fought versus killed. Two different words, two different meanings. I've demonstrated how sometimes words are added or words are deleted from verses depending on which Quran you're reading. I showed how to recognize that even if you don't know how to read Arabic, if you have the basics on how to recognize the diacritical marks, and what I mean by the diacritical marks, I'll post it back up again, is that the diacritical marks are very important to creating an Arabic language. And I showed how with one skeleton, one consonantal skeleton, you can turn this into all these different words. And if you notice, they're all the same. The only thing that's changed is all these little crazy little things on top and things on the bottom. And I've got the names because I can't remember. If you see that line on the top, it's the Fatha, the Kasra, the Dhamma, the Aleph Kanjariya, the Mada, the Hamza, the Shada. You got the Taween, which is basically double. You got the double Fatha, you got the double Kasra, you got the double Dhamma, you got the Aleph Washla, you got the Sakun. You know, I was trying to figure out what that little W is. It's a Shada, right? And I showed how that is important because by looking at these two Arabic words that look pretty much identical, if you don't know about the diacritical marks, and I show you the difference. There's a difference. There's 1, 2, 3 differences. You got the kasra, becomes a fatha. You got a sakun, that becomes an aleph and a fatha. And here, this is actually supposed to be a dot, same thing. Here, you have a double kasra or taween kasra. Now that becomes just a fatha on top of that word. One means fought, the other one means killed. Then I went over several verses in the Quran. I demonstrated that the God of Islam is not the same God of the Bible, right? The God of the Bible makes known that he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Allah never makes known that he is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. As a matter of fact, to my knowledge, and I have read the Quran, and most of you who know me, we read the Quran online, and it took 11 months to go over the whole Quran, and we dissected it, which is why my channel is called Dissecting the Quran. And we basically showed that the Quran is the most vague, disjointed, incoherent book. It has mistakes. I didn't go over the grammar because I'm not an Arabic speaker, so I don't know that much about the grammar. But I do know that, Allah likes to go and speak from a singular to a plural or vice versa. So I showed that in the Bible, specifically in the Tanakh, in the Torah, we can find the God of the Jews saying he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Allah does not do that in his Quran. Then I looked at a mistake in chapter 11, verse 56, where Allah is on a straight path. And Allah says that there's not a creature that he can't grasp by the forelock. And unfortunately for this poor little Muslim dude, I feel sorry for him. He doesn't know what a forelock is. He thinks a forelock is a forehead. I mean, what can I say? I'm not dealing with the brightest individuals here on Twitter or Clubhouse. So that was 1156. I went over the verse where it says Allah is an inheritor. Muslims do not understand you can't inherit something if you're God, because everything supposedly belongs to God. In order for you to be an inheritor, you have to be given something that doesn't belong to you. Like I mentioned, I can't inherit my car because it's my car. It's mine. So I can't give my car to myself. I already own the car. But if something was to happen to me, or even right now, I can give my son my car, or he can inherit my car when I pass away. Right? I also just finished with the, what was it, 4163. I think Freddie might have come in as I was doing that, where I basically, how can this be the word of God when the dude thinks that Jesus came before Job, Jonah, Aaron, Solomon, and David? Notice he forgot Moses. I also showed that Allah does not seem to recognize Ishmael. We have the same problem in the Torah. God does not really recognize Ishmael. Yes, he is the son of Abraham and Hagar, but he's not the promised child. So God does not really consider him in the picture, in the scheme of things, because he wasn't the promised child. In the Quran, Allah in chapter 29:27, chapter 19:49, chapter 684, chapter 21, and I think it's verse 71-72, Allah is very clear. Let me pull up just 29:27, because I like to show people. I don't like people to think, oh, this guy's just pulling crap out of his crap. All right, 29:27. All right, we can see, and we gave Isaac and Jacob to Abraham, right, and placed prophets in the book among his descendants. But it basically, in the Arabic, it basically just says, and we granted to him Isaac and Jacob. Now, Allah doesn't know that Jacob is not the son of Abraham. Jacob is the son of Isaac. So Jacob would be the grandson of Abraham. But hey, it's Allah. And he says, we placed in his offspring, meaning Jacob, prophethood and the book. Now, which book? Your guess is as good as mine. There's lots of books in the Quran that nobody knows who the hell they are. Okay, so that was 2927. If we go to 1949, 19/49, we see the same thing. We gave him, now him is Abraham. Now, Allah is a very poor communicator because he has a problem with naming people sometimes. Sometimes he names them, sometimes he doesn't. And we gave him Isaac and Jacob, and for each of them we made a prophet. Each of who? Isaac and Jacob. No mention of where is Ishmael? How come Allah didn't say, and we gave Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob? No mention. And I think 864, I think it's 864. I don't remember, 864. No. I think it's 684. All right. Don't get dyslexic here. 6/84. Yeah. Now this one says blessed, but it's really, and we bestowed, just another word for we gave. And we bestowed on him Isaac and Jacob. Okay. We guided each of them as we guided Noah. So we see here Allah saying that he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. No mention of Ishmael, ladies and gentlemen. And 21/1. I think it's 71/72. Yeah. So we see here again 21/72, and we bestowed upon him, meaning Isaac. Meaning Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now this one they do say as a grandson, but I don't believe that is in the Arabic. Let me look at the Arabic. What did I say, 72? Yeah, there is no grandson. That was the translator. As you can see, this translator is trying to fix the problem that Allah doesn't know that Jacob is not the son of Abraham. So this guy puts it here. Muhammad Assad puts it in brackets. Pickthall lied. The Arabic does not say Jacob as a grandson. If we go to Yusuf Ali, and we bestowed on him Isaac, and as an additional gift, a grandson. Now, that's not what the Arabic says. I really wish these people would not lie. There is no grandson. Actually, you can see that all of this right here is not in the Arabic. So these people are, you got to be very careful with Muslims, especially the translators. Now, I'm not going to claim that, hey, repent. I'm not going to claim that I'm an Arabic speaker. I'm not. I do have Arabic speakers. I am friends with Osama Dakdoc. If you go and you look at my Dissecting the Quran series on my playlist, you will see this guy in there. And he's the one that has the generous Quran. So he has a translation of the Quran because he's from Egypt and he's a native Arabic speaker. Let's see what Dave says. Do you think the Hadiths hold more weight than the Quran? Dave, honestly, I don't know. It depends who you talk to. I have heard that for some Muslims, the Hadiths hold more water. There is a Hadith collection called Hadith Qudsi, which is supposed to be, Muslims will tell you that the Quran is the revelation of Allah. It's Allah's direct speech. It's perfect. It has no mistakes, but yet I find mistakes left and right. I mean, and all you need is a a working brain. And don't ever buy the excuse, oh, you don't know, you got to read it in Arabic. About 80% of Muslims can't read Arabic. Also, the hadiths are very funny. The hadiths contradict themselves. I think, oh yeah, that was last night. I was on Clubhouse, so I don't have a video where in the Quran there's the story of Noah and his sons, and one of his sons supposedly died. So one of the scholars, the Tafsir scholars, says that Noah has 4 sons. Now, I'm not aware of Noah having 4 sons. I'm aware of Noah having 3 sons. And apparently, the scholars can't quite agree on which son died. One Tafsir scholar says it was Yam, W-A-M. Another scholar, I think it was Ibn Kathir or somebody else, or Jalalain, says that it was his son Canaan that died. Muslims are completely indoctrinated and brain. But you know, Freddie, what I find very interesting and also very sad is that I talk to Muslims who are converts. Like, I think not the video that I did yesterday, but the prior video that I had done. I had 2 Muslims from Twitter who came on my live show. One guy was a convert for 6 months. And it's like these guys, they get a script. Hey, Repent. Good to see you. God bless you. It's almost like these people get a script. But I got to tell you, Freddie, I'm going to show you something that's very interesting. I've already done this, but I'm going to show it again. And there's a chapter in the Quran that you can clearly see that Allah gave all his prophets a script. As soon as I can bring up my Word doc. All right, copy and paste. Okay. No, good news. Yeah, I don't care about the good news. Let me see if I can blow this up. Let me see if you guys can see it. I think that's cool. All right, so as you can see, this is chapter 26. I believe it's called the chapter of the poets. All right, now this, I think I even did a video on this. I call this chapter the rinse and repeat surah because it talks about 1 prophet, 2 prophets, 3 prophets, 4 prophets, 5 prophets, and then there's a kicker at the end. So we see here, and I've color coordinated, so you can see that the yellow is pretty much word for word the same thing. Allah has no originality. I mean, the dude is just boring as hell. I mean, because everybody says the same thing. So as you can see, if we read verse 105, it says, the people of Noah, so I have that different color because it's important, denied the messengers, and when their brother Noah, blah, 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 blah. So everything that's in the yellow is the same. I mean, word for word. Now we go to verse 123. Now, 105 is the story of Noah. 23 is the story of the prophet of Ad. We have no clue who Ad is. I think Jay Smith mentioned who they are, but I can't remember. But their prophet is called Hud. And notice that the only difference is, instead of saying the people of Ad, like it did in 105, where it says the people of Noah, it just says Ad. We have no clue who Ad is. Ad denied the messengers. Now, 124, it adds the word and. And is not in 106. I'm going to have to highlight that because I missed that. And when their brother Hud said to them, will you not fear? Surely, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now we go to verse 141. And this is the story of the people of Thamud. Again, I got no freaking clue who Thamud is. And apparently the prophet is Salih. I have no clue who he is. There's no historical reference of a prophet named Salih or a prophet named Hud. I mean, we do know about Noah. And basically, it's the same thing. The same thing. Now, this one stays true to 123. includes the word and. So these are okay. Everything else is pretty much the same. So you got 99.9% same script. Now we go to the story of Prophet Lot, which I have no clue how Prophet Lot became a prophet. There is no Prophet Lot anywhere. Now we go back to the people of Lot. So that is matching the previous one, the 105. And then notice that it doesn't have the and. Okay. Again, everything is the same. Now this one is funny. 176. The dwellers of the woods. I got no clue who that is. But apparently their prophet is called Shwaib. Again, everything is exactly the same. But notice here something. It says, the people of Lot denied the messengers. Now, according to Quran chapter 18, verse 36, Allah sends a messenger to every nation. It doesn't say that Allah sends messengers to every nation. Allah sends a messenger speaking the tongue of his people so that, clearly they can understand. Like, Muhammad was not a prophet to all mankind. Muhammad was a prophet just to the Arabs because Muhammad could only speak Arabic. So how would Muhammad communicate with the Greeks? They have no idea what the dude was saying, or with the Chinese, or anybody else. No clue. So you see here that there's a contradiction. It says messengers, okay? And let me double check. Now, messengers, I'm going to check in Corpus Quran 176, 26, 170. Actually, I can do 26, 105. I'm going to go to Corpus Quran because it tells you gives you the grammar and the word by word. So I'm going to go to 26, 105. And I'm giving you guys little tidbits that if you ever have discussions, debate with Muslims, you'll know what the hell you're talking about. All right, so we go to 105. Okay, if we go to word by word. Deny the people of Noah the messengers. Messengers. It's a masculine plural. Okay, if you know anything about the Arabic, they have singular, they have dual, and they have plural. Singular, I mean, that's easy. It's singular. Plural is two. Plural is three. And if you don't believe me, like I had a Muslim who says, oh, I don't believe you. Okay, I honestly don't care if you don't believe me. All you got to do is go over here. There we go. Not my channel. First one, right here, Arabic Language Academy. If you want to learn Arabic, hey, you might want to subscribe to them. I'm just going to let it play a little bit more. Okay. What does it say here? Plural. It is a noun which indicates three or more units. Okay, so whenever you see a word, an Arabic word that says plural, it's talking about three or more. So when you read chapter 3, verse, I don't remember what the verse is. Let's just go to chapter 3. Because I had a crazy Muslim on my last show that didn't want to come up on stage tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about. So let's go to chapter 3. Oops, I'm surprised it's not highlighted. Okay, so if you see here where it says angels, okay, that's a plural word. So that means that there was at least 3 angels that came to Maryam to give her the good news. Now, one of the questions I asked the Muslims on one of the last live streams is, why would Allah need to tell Mary twice that she was going to be pregnant? It makes absolutely no sense. Allah, the great sender of messengers. Yes, he did send 124,000 messengers, and supposedly they all had a book. Now, notice that 123,999 obviously couldn't get Allah's message correct. Nobody believed 123,999 prophets. And all their books were lost, except the Quran. That is the only uncorruptible book, because Allah promises that his book is going to be protected. But where in the Quran does it say that Allah is going to protect the Quran? Absolutely nowhere. Okay, I think it's, as you can see, I've been doing this for years. I've got all these nice little goodies. Where is it? Quran, a book. I don't know if it's in here. And indeed, oh yes, Muslims like to use the 15:9. Indeed, we have sent down the reminder, the dhikra, and indeed, we of it are surely guardians. Well, I got a problem, because Moses was also given the dhikra, the reminder. The Jews and the Christians are called the people of the reminder. Well, we definitely are not, we don't believe in the Quran. All right. And one thing that I've learned, the Quran is vague. It does not give you any explanations, although it tells you that it is a very clear book. And indeed, those who disbelieve in a reminder, again, there's no Quran here. Anybody see the word Quran here? No, it just says, indeed, we have sent down the reminder. What reminder? And indeed, we of it are surely guardians. I have no clue. Who is this, the reminder? Who are the Muslims supposed to ask? So ask the people the reminder. Don't know. No idea. 41:41. Indeed, those who disbelieve in the reminder when it comes to them, and indeed, it is surely a book, a mighty book. I don't think Allah knows what a book is. We could also see in 21:48, and verily we gave Musa and Harun, we gave Moses and Aaron the criterion, the Furqan, and a light and a reminder, a dhikran, for the righteous. Very interesting. What is this? How is it that it's the reminder? Okay, and I know Allah is capable of using the word Quran, because if I go again to corpusquran.com and I type in the word Quran, voila! 69 verses in the Quran mention the Quran. The Quran, the Quran, the Quran, the Quran. But in 1519, there is no Quran in that verse. There is in 1587, 15:1. Now, I know Muslims will say, well, you know, if you go to 15:1, it's talking about the Quran, therefore, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I ain't buying it. I also did this. Here we have five different versions of this story. This is what I call Quran inconsistencies or narrative contradictions. Different versions of the story about Lot and his family. Chapter 7, we see that Allah delivered him and his family, except his wife. Okay, she was those who stayed behind. Okay, so she stayed behind. Now, why does she stay behind? Nobody knows. Chapter 11, it says Lot and his family are told, no one of you turn around except your wife. Now, why would the angels tell Lot, hey, you and your whole family, don't turn around except your wife? Why? Chapter 26, I'm told that we delivered him and his whole family. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I read his whole family, that means his wife was also saved. Is his wife not part of his family? But instead of saying his wife, it says, except an elder. Who the hell is an elder? And I guess she was a slowpoke, because she was among those who tarried. And when you tarry, that means, you're slow. Chapter 27, it says, so we delivered him and his family except his woman, wife. Allah decreed her to be a slowpoke. Huh. Then we go back to chapter 37, when we delivered him and all of his family. I'm sorry. Wouldn't all of his family include his wife, except an elder who tarried? Oh, and it gets even funnier. Did you know that Allah not only drowned the unbelievers, but he also drowned the believers? We read in verse 119, so we delivered him, Noah, and those who were with him in the loaded ship. Then we drowned the rest after him. Okay. Surely, and this is a sign, and most of them were not believers. Ladies and gentlemen, Allah didn't say, and all of them were not believers. Allah said, and most of them were not believers. Therefore, some of them that drowned were believers. I mean, do you want to trust a God who happens to drown believers? Let me see. Repent. Chapter 27 is the best one. Let me see. Chapter 27. What is chapter 27? Chapter 27. Let's go take a look. I don't remember chapter 27. I may have to read the Quran again. I tried. The ants. Yes, the ants. Is that what you're referring to? The chapter of the ants? But I like how it starts off. Tha Sin. These are the verses of the Quran and a book clear. Okay, if the Quran is clear, can somebody tell me what Tasin means? Because I don't know. And also, why are these two separate words, Ta and Sin? When you look at the Arabic, unless this is Ta and this is Sin. Nobody knows what Tha and Sin is. Nobody knows what Aleph, Lam, Ra. Okay, toss that, baby. You got that. I have a feeling that those words are actually Aramaic words, and they would only make sense in Aramaic. Everything's pointing to the Quran originally being in Aramaic or taken from Aramaic scriptures, lectionaries, and hymns. So 27. Oh, yesterday I went over the story of Solomon. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story of Solomon. He's the guy that had the strength of 40 prophets. Therefore, he was allowed to have 1,000 women or 1,000 wives. But the guy died. And the story goes that he was leaning on his staff for a whole year. I mean, the dude died, but it was in the staff for a whole year. Until the termites ate the stick. And he toppled over. So for a whole year, the jinn, who were working for him and building stuff for him, never noticed that Solomon was dead. 1,000 wives never noticed that their husband never came to bed. The dude didn't eat. The dude didn't poop. The dude didn't pee. Nobody in this kingdom noticed that the guy had been dead for a year. The guy didn't stink. He didn't blow up. I mean, we all know that if if you die and, you don't get embalmed, you start to rot from the inside. You start to produce gas. That gas makes you expand. And eventually you go poof, like a balloon. It's fine for Allah to drown believers, but it's not fine for God to drown. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that. Oh, but repent. I mean, Solomon was a great dude. He could speak to the ants. He could speak to the birds. Remember the whoopie bird? I mean, he could communicate with everything. The dude was like, Aladdin. I think Allah probably watched Aladdin or, the Arabian Nights. I mean, seriously. I mean, the Quran is a good book if you want to tell a story to your kids. Hey, here's the story of King Solomon. King Solomon had 1,000 wives. King Solomon, you know, he had an army of jinn. He had an army of birds. He could speak to the birds. He could speak to the ants. And he died for a whole year leaning on his staff and nobody noticed. Well, but Freddie, you get a lot of sex when you go to Jannah, you know. Everything that you're not supposed to do here in heaven, I'm sorry, everything you're not supposed to do here on earth, hey, it's free game when you go to Allah's Las Vegas club. I mean, you get couches, you get clothes that are made from green silk, you get gold bracelets. Everybody is on the couch or on the bed facing each other. I really don't want to face anybody. The guys walk around with a stiff penis that never goes down, which means I guess you're walking around naked because how can you wear any clothes unless you wear a robe? You know, those Muslim robes, right? You got 72 wives that you can see their bone marrow. That's kind of disgusting if you ask me. You're going to have these rivers of wine, but I guess the wine is going to be like a Shirley Temple. You're not going to get drunk. You don't pee. You don't poop. You just eat and have sex in front of everybody else. You got these lovely boys who apparently don't bleed. Now, I don't know why that's even in there. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Allah is it's like a whorehouse. Allah is the master pimp. And what's funny is that Allah will not deny you anything. That means if you say, Allah, you're looking mighty good today with those two right hands. I want to do you. Do you? Allah can't say no. Because Allah promised you can have whatever you want. I mean, the guys can go into the marketplace, which I was trying to find a hadith. I'm still going to look for it. You can go to the marketplace and whatever you see as a picture, you can have sex with it. Guys can get pregnant and have a baby that's fully grown. I mean, wow, man, this is amazing. Now, Freddie, are you familiar with chapter 19 of the Quran? You know, the story of Mary or Miriam, the sister of Aaron. You know, she's told that she's going to be pregnant right after she's told by Allah's spirit, who Muslims tell me is Jibril, which unfortunately it's not. Right after Mary is told that she's going to be pregnant, she delivers Isa. I mean, that is a miracle. The woman didn't even go through 9 months of pregnancy. She just plopped that sucker out. And it was so much pain that she wished she had died. I mean, Allah does not have a good track record. And right after she says that she's in pain and she's leaning up against the date palm, something from underneath her starts talking to her. Now, who the hell is talking to this lady from underneath her? Now, before Muslims would say it was the baby speaking, Isa was speaking from her womb, but can't be because he's already been born according to the Quran. He was already born. So it can't be Isa underneath Mary because that means Mary would have to be sitting on top of her poor son. And that's not good. And this thing that's underneath her says that there's a river of water underneath her. What does that mean? Throughout the Quran, yes, Jibril, it was actually Allah because Jibril is not Allah's spirit. And he blew into her, you know. Now the Muslims will tell you, no, 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 it's his chastity. Okay, I've shown them the dictionaries and the lexicons. Hell, even Google, if you just isolate the word. Now here's the trick. If you isolate a word, Google will give you the true meaning 99% of the time. If you just put the whole verse, Google's going to lie to you. But if you go to the Arabic lexicons or dictionaries like Hans Wurst or Lane's lexicon, it clearly indicates that the farsh is the woman's private parts. I guess Allah was snorting Jibril that day. But here it is, a woman who just gave birth by herself. And yesterday I did a comparison between Mary in the Bible versus Mary in the Quran. We get a lot more details. Jibril comes to, or I should say, Gabriel comes to Mary. Yeah, she's a little apprehensive. She might even be a little scared because, I mean, come on, I haven't seen an angel. But the angels always say, fear not, I am from God. And, here's my message. Mary didn't need to be told twice that she was going to be pregnant, like in the Quran in chapter 3. 3 angels come to her and tell her, Mary, you're going to be pregnant. And Mary says, whoa, bro, how can I be pregnant? I haven't had sex with a man. Don't worry. Allah's got that covered. All right. But then in chapter 19, the same story. Instead, now the good news is not coming from 3 angels. It's coming from our spirit, aka supposedly Jibril. Now, you know how Muslims say there's no contradictions in the Quran? Great. Who told Mary she was going to be pregnant? Was it the 3 angels? Now, remember, plural means 3 minimum. So we know that at least 3 angels came to her. And why did Mary, who is speaking to the angels, call the angels my Lord? I thought my Lord was only restricted to Allah. But this woman gives birth to a child by herself. I mean, she was her own, what do they call those ladies that give, I can't remember the name. Midwives. Back in the days when they didn't have hospitals and ERs and the baby section in there. So she gave birth to Isa by herself and she's in pain. She wishes she had died. Funny because Muhammad tried to commit suicide. And she's sitting under the tree and something is talking to her from underneath her and tells her, hey, there's water underneath you, okay? And tells the lady to go and shake the date palm so she can get some dates. I mean, seriously, who tells a woman who just had a baby to go shake a palm tree to get food? Why couldn't Jibril give her the thing? I mean, God in the Bible sent ravens to feed his prophets. Yes, Miriam, everybody in the grandmother, the kitchen sink talks in the Quran. I mean, you got a bald snake. No, I'm sorry, that's in the Hadiths. You got a bald snake, and I was laughing because my son asked me, hey, Dad, what the hell is a bald snake? I'm like, son, I don't know. I didn't know snakes had hairs. Maybe they did when they first came out. I don't know. Wouldn't the 3 angels be too late since Mary had the baby immediately? Now, Mary, and here's a funny thing. Now, in chapter 3, it's 3 angels. But chapter 19 comes before chapter 3. So when the 3 angels came in chapter 3, she already gave birth. And you say, Dr. Kufa, you gotta be out of your noggins. Chapter 3 is not before chapter 19. 3 comes before 19. Yes, I agree with you. And that would be true, except the Quran is not in revelation order. And how do I know? Well, because I know. And if I go here to my spreadsheet, I happen to have the Quran in chronological order. If I go to chapter 3, which is chapter Al Imran, what do we see here? Chapter 3 in chronological order, I was wrong. Okay, I see what I did. So we got chapter 3, which is actually chapter 89. Okay, now let's look at chapter 19. Chapter 19, which is Surah Maryam, that is actually revealed. That's the 44th chapter revealed. While 44th chapter is before chapter 89. That is 45 chapter differences. Oh my, I'm going to have to do a video on this. I may have to do a short, a 1 minute or 2 minute. So the lady had already had a baby. Because chapter 19 was revealed, was the 44th chapter revealed, and chapter 3 was the 89th chapter revealed. So why did the angels come to tell Mary she was going to have a kid when she already had a kid? Maybe she had more than one kid. Yeah, the revelations are backwards. Actually, they tell you that the Quran is laid out from the longest chapter to the shortest, but that is also a lie. Because when, well, here, you can look here. Chapter, number of verses. It's not in the longest to the shortest. If you take away chapter 1, which is the Al-Fatiha, you can see chapter 2, 286 verses. Chapter 3, 200. Chapter 4, 176. Chapter 5, 120. Oh my God, it is going in descending order. Oops. Now we go to chapter 6, and it's got 165 verses. It's got more verses than the previous one. Chapter 7 is even worse. It has 206 verses, but then chapter 8 has 75. So, ladies and gentlemen, everything that you've been told about the Quran is a lie. Why did Allah put his very first revelation, which is the chapter of the clot, Iqra? Why did Allah put the first revelation to come to Muhammad at the end of his book? Also in chapter 5, Allah says, today I have perfected your religion. Ooh, but chapter 5, ladies and gentlemen, is actually chapter 112, which would make sense. How can Allah perfect the religion in chapter 5, and then you still have 109 chapters afterward? What the hell do I need the other 109? Hey, Allah, you perfected the religion. I don't need any more crap. I'm done. And this is the stupidity that we find in the Quran. I mean, this is interesting stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to shut down the live stream. I've been on here 2 hours and 13 minutes. Most of the time I've been talking to myself. I guess people will see what I am doing later on. Repent, stupidity is amazing. Oh, I mean, you should see the tweets that I get on Twitter from these Muslims. It is unbelievable. Well, Marion, that would be true if in chapter 3, when the 3 angels came, we were told that she gave birth, but we don't find that in chapter 3. Nowhere does it say that she had Isa. And let me double check. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I recall Mary giving birth in chapter 3. Chapter 3 / let me just do chapter 3, verse 1. Now, the other thing is we also find the problem of contradictions between chapter 3, we also find between chapter 3 and 19, Zechariah's speech gets reversed. In one book, Zechariah said that he will not speak for 3 days. In the other book, Zechariah is not going to speak. Well, I should say not book, but chapter. In the other chapter, Zechariah is told he's not going to speak for 3 days. And Muslims will tell me, oh, 3 days and 3 nights. That's the same. No, it's not. All right, let's see. It starts over here. Chapter 3. Oh, it's all the way down here, 42. 42. All right, and when the angel said to Mary, okay. When the angel said to Mary, okay, she spoke to them, make a messenger, Indeed, between his hands, Then when perceived Esau from the disbelief, he said, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, he is born here too. All right, let's see. He will teach him the book, the wisdom, the Torah, and the Injil. Okay, so this is the angel, one of the angels telling Mary that Allah is going to teach him the book. Now, I don't know what this book is. No idea, and I don't think any Muslim knows what this book is. I know what the Torah is, and I know what the Injil. I've never had an answer. And make him a messenger. Okay, so that's still the angel speaking. That's still the angel speaking. That's still the angel speaking. Then when perceived Esau from the disbelief, he said, who will be my help? All of a sudden, he comes over here and, ladies and gentlemen, this is just ass backwards. Notice that it's the angel speaking to Mary, telling her what Jesus is going to do. He's going to speak to the bird, okay? Allah is going to teach him the book, the wisdom, the Torah. He's going to make him a messenger to the children of Israel. Indeed, I have come to you with a sign from your Lord. I designed from you the clay. Like, okay, wait a minute, but that's Esau. Whoa, what the hell is going on here? The angels are speaking here, and they tell Mary, and Allah's going to make him a messenger to the children of Israel. Indeed, I surely have come to you with a sign from your Lord that I designed for you from the clay. Okay. Now this is supposed to be Jesus speaking. Indeed, I surely have come to you with a sign from your Lord that I designed for you. I mean, man, Mary skipped the part where she had the baby. And Jesus is telling him, I'm going to create clay birds and I'm going to breathe into it and it's going to become a bird by the permission of Allah. And I cure the blind and the lepers and I give life to the dead by the permission of Allah. Now, Muslims don't understand. Permission does not mean that you don't have. Hey, Freddie, I'll see you later on Twitter. Muslims don't understand. Permission does not mean that you don't have the capability. I mean, my son can drive a car, but he needs my permission to drive my car. Okay, so I'm not driving the car through my son. I'm just allowing him to drive my car. So we see that Jesus is born right off the bat. And he's telling people, I'm going to make the clay birds, this and that. I inform you of what you eat and what you store in your houses. So man, Esau is going to be psychic. He is going to know what you eat and what you store in your houses. Indeed, that is surely a sign for you if you are believers. I mean, this is such a mess, man. Now he goes and confirming that which between the hands. I mean, somebody threw this crap together. And then when perceived Esau from the disbelief, who will be my helpers? The disciples said, oh Lord, we believe in what you revealed and we followed the messenger, then right among us. I mean, this is just a mess, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just going to end on this mess. But Marion, thank you for showing me that because I totally forgot about that. That Jesus is talking in chapter 3. So that means he was already born. So your point is valid. Why would Jabril have to come in chapter 19 when Jesus was already born in chapter 3? This is going to be a good video. Anyway, see you guys later. Thank you very much. God bless you. And I might do this big boo-boo tomorrow. All right, I'm going to end the show. Thank you very much.